suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen. Anasha, Ayanyamya, Al, Aharyam, Maaya, Yabawa'a, Isaiah, Yabawa'a, Mayahaw, Sha'ashon, Shemayim, Warataza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Noam, Shashamorya, Ana, Yala'a, Noam, Wala'a, Yashon, Shashalamor, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemaria, Yahweh, Tizalia, Il, Yamyamya, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Ayawam, Ala'a, Alamina, Alayala, Yahweh, Yashemaria, Yakal, Rai, Yashemor, Nepasha, Yahweh, Yashemor, Halamatya, Wabawa'aya, Ma'aitha, Ma'ai, Awalam, Aman.
What's going on with it? Good seeing everyone here today. Gonna be together for a little bit right now. No, I wanted to come together because it said the Most High is just giving me so much, just blessing me with so much information and understanding. I want to actually have a, come together, talk a little bit, show you guys a few things that the Most High is showing me. And, opportunity for us to come together and spend some time together and just, talk with each other here in the chat and everything else. Someone needs to be the one that's going to tell the story of our people. Our people have been persecuted, killed, destroyed, and no one is really talking about what they did to our people. That has been like the biggest cover up, is that everyone always works together to hide everything that's happened to our people. They always constantly trying to tell us, who we are, who we're not. You're not the Israelites, you're not the Jews. Some guy was here today talking about DNA. Well, you're going to be really surprised when you find out that you're not the Jews, because they're unearthing people and they don't have Negroid features, or the DNA says that you're not African, or says that you're African, that you're not an Israelite. And I'm like, hold on. So you're willing to believe the science of a people that have lied about absolutely everything? I mean, like, if that's what you want to believe, be my guest. Now, when you're saying things like they're discovering these bodies and they don't have any Negroid features, well, how do you know that? Were you there when they discovered the bodies? You really think that they're bringing out all the stuff, all the information, all the proof? Did you see the bodies yourself, or did you just hear that word of mouth? See, when they got here and they got to Palenque, there were statues of people with so-called Negroid features. These were in the first editions of this book on Atlantis. What did they do by the second or third edition? They took all of that information out of the book. So if these people are willing to constantly change, these are statues that were there before Europeans got here. They were correct depictions of who has been here. If they're willing to just take these statues and hide them, if they're willing to, pretty much just, hide the Olmec heads, not really talk about those, if they're willing to, just ignore what's written, what's painted on the murals in the pyramids, then what's the point? These people have lied about absolutely everything. They've been lying about absolutely everything. So why would you think that all of a sudden now scripture's not good enough? You see what I'm saying? Now it's DNA. Oh, well, your DNA says that you're from Africa. Well, I'm sorry, but Africa hasn't been a place for very long. You see what I'm saying? Oh, your ancestors came from, Europe. They came from Ireland. Well, which people are you talking about? Because there have been people that have been there way before who's there now. Oh, you're Native American. Well, which Native Americans are you talking about? Are you Native Americans like the ones they're showing you today? Are they the ones that were here before the ones they're showing you today? You see what I'm saying? Like, the whole world is so upside down, and it tells you that the Gentiles have inherited lies. So even all this information, all they're doing is coming up with other ways to lie to you. And I'm like, hey, if you want to believe DNA, and you think that that's what's going to, really tell you who you are, be my guest. See, this is the whole thing, and you're going to see right now when we're going to get into this book. It's this one right here. It's called Torquemada. Okay? Torquemada. He was the Grand Inquisitor. Okay? But what's great about this is it shows you the history. We all know that the Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492. But the vast majority of us don't know anything else about that. But see, a lot of prophecy was being fulfilled even before they kicked out the Jews, okay, in 1492. See, this is why, take a look at Every single day you're looking at the news, you're looking at social media, and they're talking about how this is it, this is the collapse, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and nothing happens. How many times do they constantly keep wanting to tell you those kinds of things, give you these stories, and nothing happens? Nothing happens because they have nothing to do with prophecy. These people have absolutely nothing to do with prophecy. And the fact that, since we know that they don't have anything to do with prophecy, all their actions have nothing to do with prophecy. Everything revolves around the Most High's people. This is why you have to go back and search for, events of the past, and then use those and look at the Bible and look and see how they mesh. Look and see how they connect. You see what I'm saying? This is why they act like they're going to get raptured away, and then we're going to stay here, and then we're going to have to deal with the Antichrist. Okay? Same things over and over again. You see what I'm saying? Same things over and over again. But they don't tell you about what the priests were doing to the Jews or to the Israelites in Spain before they were kicked out. They don't talk about the persecution that the Christian church or the Catholic church was imposing on the Israelites. You see what I'm saying? Because, look, there's only two groups, Israelites and everyone else, okay? So if you start to realize that this Catholic church and this Christian church you love so much was responsible for the death and the destruction of the Israelites, then that means that those people that were doing those things have to be enemies of the Most High. And if they're the enemies of the Most High, and you're part of their church, you're part of the whole narrative that they've set up, then you're also part of Satan's group, Satan's church, Satan's dominion, everything. Okay? So it tells you if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. But if you curse Israel, you'll be cursed. This is why it's imperative to know who Israel is. And see, when that guy made that comment, it was in the last video, the video I just did yesterday, or last night. It's like, well, they're exhuming these bodies and they don't have any Negroid features. If you say so, bruh. If that's what you believe, knock yourself out. Oh, well, you're going to be totally surprised, when you realize you're not, when you find out you're not a real Israelite. I'm like, see, this is the whole thing. See, this shows the fact that these people don't know the scriptures. We're not supposed to know who we are. We're not supposed to know that we're Israel. That is all part of prophecy. You see what I'm saying? So us not knowing that we're Israel is all part of prophecy. We're supposed to think that we're everything else but the Most High's chosen people. Talks about that all over the scriptures. Talks about that in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, how the whole world is like, these are the Jews, these are the sons and daughters of the living power. How do we not know that we had them in derision? We had them at the bottom. You see what I'm saying? So these are the books that have been hidden, just like I did in the last video. I showed you in the Encyclopedia of the Catholic Church. They are referring to 4th Esdras, which is really pretty much like 2nd Esdras. They just have these different numberings, but it's the apocryphal books in Esdras. Someone was asking about those. Look, if you want to look for the red book. It's like a red book. If you don't have it in your Bible, it's a red book that says Apocrypha on it. I don't have mine with me right now. And it's just got the Apocrypha. It's like $6, $8, $9. You can get it and you can read it. There's so many prophecies in there that are being fulfilled right now. But in the video I did last night, the encyclopedia, Catholic Encyclopedia, is talking about how the early church fathers were totally in agreement with these books, except for maybe one person. Vast majority of these church fathers they always have to talk about had no problem with 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th Esdras. All the way through the Middle Ages, they were quoting Esdras. Then it talked about the apocalypse of Abraham. It told you a little breakdown about how pretty much the Israelites are put at the bottom and that the Most High is going to redeem his people. You see what I'm saying? So they are well aware of what's written in the Abraham apocalypse of Abraham. You see what I'm saying? So they knew that they were going to have 400 years to take down the Israelites. And I'm going to show you some more information later on about how, like, Cortez, when he was coming over here, he didn't have very many people. He didn't have a lot of weapons. He didn't have like a lot of armor. He didn't have any of that. He had very little. But him and his crew, him and the conquistadors, said that they knew that they were going to be successful. Well, how did they know they were going to be successful? How were they so sure that they could show up with a few hundred people and take down millions? How did they know this? They knew this because they were privy to all these other books. They were privy to all these other prophecies. They knew that they were going to be able to take down all 12 tribes. So that's why they came over here and they were, so confident they were going to be able to take down the people. You know why? Because they knew that the Most High was with them at that time. The Most High was with the Spaniards at that time. Why? Because he was using them to take us down. That's why he showed up with so few people. Remember, like the story in the Bible about how when he had, was it Gideon? When he had like a small, he had a lot of people and they were getting ready to fight. And the Most High is like, oh no, you got too many people. Send some of them home. If they don't want to fight, send them home. And then he had a bunch of them left. He goes, you know what? That's still too many people. I don't want you to get the glory, right? So I think if they went to the water and they drank the water a certain way, people that drank it a certain way, they had to go, right? So then it was like down to a really small number of people, because the Most High wants all the praise and glory when you have like a really small group that takes down a huge group. He wants you to know that it was him, right? So those are kinds of things that were actually in the scriptures, right? Same thing with the Spanish. When they came over here and they were taking down Moctezuma and they were going to take down Tenochtitlan, Most High doesn't want them to come in with some super huge army. He wants them to come in, small group, so that he can get the glory. But the problem is that the Spaniards didn't want to give the glory to the Most High. He didn't want to say, they don't want to admit the fact that the Most High handed us over to them. You see what I'm saying? So they wanted to make it sound like, hey, yeah, we did this. There was only a few hundred of us, but because of our superior military genius and the superior weapons that we have, we were able to take down all the millions of these, of these savages. No, man, the only reason you were able to take us down was because it was that time and you knew it. That's why in 1492, at the beginning of the year, they were able to take down the Moors. They were able to start to getting ready to kick out the Jews. Then the Most High opened up a passageway for them to come over here and take down the rest of the tribes. That's why all of these things have happened. Okay? Now, so they're well aware of, the people in the know exactly what's going on right now. They're only, just like the churches are made to just keep the people docile, keep the people asleep, news is doing exactly the same thing. The vast majority of people on social media are doing the same thing. All they're doing is regurgitating the same talking points every single day. The economy is going to crash. This is going to happen. Make sure you get your bug out bag ready. Oh my God, they're practicing loading up missiles for this. Oh, they had another snap drill for nuclear war, everything, right? Every single day it's the same thing. Because they're keeping the sheep asleep. Most High wants them asleep. Most High does not want everyone to know this truth. Most High does not want everyone to realize what's going on. If you understand what's going on and you've been blessed to get this understanding, you are a privileged few. You are a privileged few. This truth is not for millions and millions of people to get right now. They're going to get it, but then they're going to get it. Everything's on the Most High's time. Okay? So we're going to read a little bit. And the thing is, like I tell people all the time, hey man, if this isn't for you, go find a channel that's for you. If you think that everything's in the 66 books that the Gentiles have approved for you, knock yourself out, go there. If you don't think we're the Israelites, cool. Go over there and help Ish out. Ish needs all the help he can get. Go help him out. Send him some more money. You see what I'm saying? We don't care. You know, oh, there's no Negroid features. Man, there's Negro people everywhere. People with Negroid features everywhere. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter what you say. You know, you can't prove anything. These people who are in high positions don't prove anything. So how are you as a layperson who probably hasn't read very much going to come on this channel and tell us that who we're not? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, see, that worked when you were in your blessing. You see what I'm saying? That happened when you could just come in and say, "Oh, you're African American. Oh, you're black. Oh, you're colored. Hey, cool." That worked before. That doesn't work anymore. Okay? Because I can ask you, well, who the hell are you? What are you? Because as soon as you start trying to tell us, you know, who we are, we can start questioning who the hell are you? Who shows that you've been in these certain lands for this amount of time? You see what I'm saying? See, I'm going to show you some more history right now, and we're going to connect it to the scriptures. Okay? Because what they did to the Jews in Spain is going to mimic exactly what happened over here. You see what I'm saying? Why would they employ the exact same tactics to the Jews over in Spain to the so-called natives that were here? And not only that, they did it during the civil rights, during Jim Crow. They did exactly the same things with Jim Crow that they did to the Jews in Spain. Why would they be doing exactly the same thing? Because those were all the same people. See, all throughout this book, they're always linking up Moors and Jews. All the time. It's, you know, the Moors and the Jews. The Moors and the Jews. All the time. And we already know that Moors were so-called Negroes. There's a whole part in this book and another I was showing my wife this morning. It was crazy because all these books and stuff like that, these historical books are all starting to come together. Okay? But in order to get like certain offices, high offices, they had to prove something. Let me show you that they had clean blood. Okay? Now remember, this is supposed to be a Catholic church who's supposed to be all about universalism, and it's supposed to be about everyone's equal, everyone's the same. If everyone's equal and everyone's the same, and John 3:16, and God loves everyone the same, then why is it that people in certain high positions have to prove that they have clean blood? They always say that, don't they say, oh, we all bleed the same. We all bleed red, right? But apparently, our red blood is not the same as their red blood. You see what I'm saying? And I don't want to hear the BS about, oh, that was back then. They had it wrong. You know, we're different Catholics or we're different Christians. No, you're not. You're exactly the same. You're exactly the same. There is no such thing as, you know, you establishing your whole church and everything that you've got. Look, if you want to say that you're different, give back everything that your church has stolen. You see what I'm saying? Give back everything that your church has stolen. If you're not going to give back what your church has stolen off of ill-gotten gains, then don't talk to me about how your church is different. Because you used all these examples of ways to get everything. And then once you got everything, then you want to switch it up and say, well, it's all about love now. Let's move forward. Let's not talk about the past. Yeah, the past is how you got everything. So of course we need to talk about it. Okay? So right here in the preface right here of this book, Torca Meda, okay, by Rafael Sabatini, okay, it says Juan Antonio Llorente was born at Logroño in 1756, and he was ordained priest in 1779. After a university course of Roman and canon law, which enabled him to obtain a place among the lawyers of the Supreme Council of Castile, that is, the Council of the Inquisition. Having graduated as a doctor of canon law, he discharged the duties of vicar general to the Bishop Calahorra, and later on became the commissary of the Holy Office in Logroño. Now, this is an important part right here. For which it was necessary that he should prove that he was of clean blood, undefiled by the taint of Jew or Moor or heretic. Now, take a look right here. Let me see if you guys can get it. You guys can pause it later. Okay, so supposedly, this supposed to go back to the whole one drop blood, right? One drop rule, right? Now again, you had to prove, okay, for which it was necessary that he should prove that he was of clean blood, undefiled by the taint of Jew, or Moor, or heretic. Now, I'm sorry, but if I look at Ish today, can you really tell the difference between Ish and a Spaniard, an Irish person, a British person? Can you really tell that big of a difference in between them? Someone supposedly from all these different countries. You can't really tell much of a difference, right? So how could you know if you had that blood in you? If you're a so-called white European, right? If you're a so-called white European, I'm sorry, but they look pretty much, they look European, right? So this blood that they're talking about, Moor or Jew, how could you tell if you were looking at someone? You can't. But if it's a Moor, who, as we know now, are so-called Negroes, and then a Jew who must look just like a Moor, if you show that you have any characteristics of those people, you can't even hold these high positions. So that would just show you that, you know, what would you have, like, you gotta have your papers and show who you're you're lying all the way down and make sure there's no so-called Moor or Jew blood in you. And how exactly would you do that? But you can see it, like if you're mixed, you can totally see it. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. If they're all looking alike, but all of a sudden you got, well, I'm Ish, and I'm Egyptian, and I'm I'm British, I'm French, and I'm like, well, how? Hey, bro, if you didn't tell me what the hell you were and I looked at you, I can't tell. You see what I'm saying? You guys always talk about how we look the same. I'm like, okay, well, I don't look like Ham, but if you say so, hey, knock yourself out. Whatever. We can tell the difference. But I'm sorry, but a lot of you guys you guys look a lot alike. So how could you tell if you don't have tainted blood? It's got to be some other characteristics that we're looking at that would show if you were, had tainted blood. Even some Arabs, even a lot of the Arabs, they can still pass for being European. If they don't wear certain clothes that shows that, of their culture, you can't always tell, right? So in order to get this high position, he had to prove that he had clean blood, undefiled by the taint of Jew or Moor or heretic. Now, whatever happened to John 3:16? God loves everybody. Hey, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Everybody has the same opportunities. You see what I'm saying? Everyone has the same opportunities to to life and liberty. And if you want to work hard, you can be anything you want. But apparently, if you wanted any of these high positions, you couldn't have Jew, Moor, or heretic blood. So right there already sounds like there's an issue with the BS that you're pushing in your churches. You see, they always talk about, like, the Israelites, not wanting people to be part of their group. Well, they did exactly the same thing, which, hey, you guys were in your blessing. I get it. You don't want us to go in there and be part of your blessing. Cool, I get you. But don't then do that kind of stuff and then say, oh, well, God loves everybody. It's all about love. So that's what they all talk about. It's all about love and coming together and working together. We're all equal. We've all gone through all these tough times. No, we haven't. You see what I'm saying? That was just one little part, okay? This dude, I'm not even going to get into him right now, Llorente, but there's a lot of stuff that he's talking about that we need to get into also. But I want to first read, they made these rules about the Jews. Okay, let me find it real quick. Okay, they were having issues with, okay, what's happened is this. And this is, remember now how one of the main dudes in the FBI said, like, the biggest threat to this country was, like, black people supposedly coming together, right? If you guys remember the guy who said that, I don't know if it was Hoover or whatever else. If you guys remember who said that, please put that in the chat. But it was always about black people coming together. Remember, like, if they used to see us coming together, they would go break us up. They did not want us to be together talking or whatever else. They didn't want us coming together at all. That's why they always set up, okay, well, you're part of this group, you're part of this camp, you're part of that camp. you're part of this camp. Oh, he says Ahia. He says Yeshaya. He doesn't say the right thing. Oh, he does the Sabbath on this day. And then you're all nothing but fighting all the time. Thank you for putting Hoover. Thank you. Because it's always been about separation and keeping us separated. Because in Spain, what happened was that the Israelites were like always, they came in. When they come in and they work together, they look out for each other, and then they start amassing wealth. They start, ascending in social status everywhere they go. They're the best at everything everywhere they go. Okay? So they see this, the other nations, the Christians, the Europeans. So they realize that, hey man, if we keep letting these guys come together and do stuff, they're always going to ascend. We held high positions in politics. We had high positions in the monetary system. We had high positions, in everywhere. I'm sure in universities. We were everyone that was, the learning came from the Israelites. It was not coming from the so-called Egyptians. It was all coming from the Israelites. Even the Moors were learning from the Israelites. Okay? So this was the issue with us coming together, because we would get all the high positions and the other nations couldn't do anything about it. Okay? Now, look to today. Same thing. If things were fair, if things were equal, our people would, ascend. But that's why they have to make all these rules and laws. So, hey, you know what, man? Don't let them get loans, because if they get loans for these houses, they're going to get them and they're going to pass them down to their kids, and they're going to have money, and they'll end up working together like Black Wall Street, and they'll just kind of keep us out of the loop. Those are the kinds of things that they were worried about. Okay, let me see if I can find that part real fast. And a lot of it was because, hey, they didn't get along the Israelites didn't get along with anybody, but neither did the Christians. They didn't like each other at all. Which, hey, I get you, If you see the Most High blessing His people, and you're not getting blessed like the same way they are, I can see the issue. Like, I see the point of view of the Gentiles. Okay? But don't make it seem like you guys haven't been doing all this dirt this whole time. Okay? It talks about them not the Israelites not liking the Christians, and the Christians not liking the Israelites. Okay? I'm trying to find a part here I wanted to read to you guys. Well, this part here is going to talk about how they didn't like, the Christians and the Jews didn't like each other. Okay? Let's see. All right, to the Christian, every Jew he encountered was his natural and hereditary enemy, a descendant of those who had crucified the Savior. Therefore, he was an object of execration, a man upon whom it must be meritorious to avenge the world's greatest crime, which had been perpetrated by his forebears. So you're holding us responsible for things our forefathers did, but we can't do the same thing for you? The Jew, on the other hand, held the Christian in a contempt as thorough, from the standpoint of his own pure and unadulterated monotheism. He looked scornfully upon a religion that must appear to him no better than an adaptation of polytheism, developed upon the doctrines of one whom the Jews had rejected as an impostor, who had attempted to usurp the place of the promised Messiah. To the truly devout Jew of those days, the Christian religion could have been little better than a blasphemy, nor was that the only source of his contempt. Looking back upon his own splendid ancestry, that's us looking back at our ancestry, okay, upon the antiquity of his race and the high order of its culture, talking about us as a people, the fruit of centuries of intellectual evolution. We've been evolving, okay? What but scorn could he entertain for these Spaniards of yesterday's hatching, who were just emerging from the slough of barbarianism? See, they're the ones who were the barbarians. They're the ones that were barely coming out of those barbaric tendencies. They always want to make it sound like we were the barbarians, but in actuality, it was them. Okay? Now it says that it is clear that mutual esteem between the races was out of all question. In an age of strong religious prejudices, toleration, however, was possible, and the Jew applied himself to win it. Yeah, we said, okay, we'll come together. We'll you do you, we'll do us. I said, and we'll see who wins at the end. But see, the Israelites already know. Hey, man, if all things are equal, we're taking over. If all things are equal, there's nothing you can do, because it's not you against us. It's your power against our power. And our power is the power of everything. You see what I'm saying? So if our power wants us to have whatever, it's going to happen. If the Most High wants to bless us, it's going to happen. And there's nothing that these other nations can do about it. And that's what was causing a lot of these issues. It says, to this end, he employed at once the vices and the virtues of the unfortunate, which centuries of tribulation had rendered inherent in him. Armed with a stoicism that was almost pitiful, he donned a mask of indifference to confront express hatred and contempt. Like, constantly, we're always enduring hatred and contempt, but we let that stuff just roll off our backs, just like a duck, and we just keep it moving. Okay? It says, to violence he opposed cunning and the long-suffering patience that is so peculiarly his own. See, we're always long-suffering. We always know that stuff is going to happen, and we just grin and bear it and keep it moving. Okay? The patience that is allied with a high order of intelligence. The patience which interpreted into an infinite capacity for taking pains. We're used to taking pains. We're used to dealing with tough times. Okay? It has been urged as a definition of genius, and is the secret of the Jew's success wherever he is established. Wherever we're established, we go through these things and we work through it. That was the, secret of the Jew's success wherever he is. Wherever he goes, we're long suffering and we get through it. And it says, in the cohesion in a foreign land of this people that cannot keep together as a nation. Okay? And in this extraordinary commercial acuteness lies the strength of the Jews. They grew wealthy by their industry and thrift until they were in a position to purchase those privileges which in Christendom are the birthright of every Christian. Their numbers, too, made it difficult in Spain to treat them with contumely. For upon the resonated estimate of Amador de los Rios, there were close to upon 1 million Jews in Castile at the end of the 13th century. They formed by their solidarity. So again, them coming together, which is what they've always been against, as they always do, an imperium in imperio, a state of their own within the state. That's exactly what it is. They don't want that. That's why they always have us at each other's neck all the time. Okay? They had their own language and customs. They were governed by their own laws, which were enforced by their rabbis and chiefs. And they pursued their own religion unmolested, for even the observation of the Sabbath was respected by the Castilians. Thus, they came to create for themselves in a foreign country a simulacrum of their own native land. It is true that they were afflicted from time to time by sporadic local persecutions, but in the main, they enjoyed a tolerance and religious liberty, which the poor harried Albigenses beyond the Pyrenees might have well envied. For the church, which had already established the Inquisition, was very far, for reasons that shall be considered in the next chapter, from instigating any persecution of the children of Israel. Okay, so these are the kinds of things. We're going to continue with this some more, but I just wanted to get you that part right there. Well, let me continue because this is really important, because they were giving the Israelites their own space, their own lands. They know that if they bless Israel, the whole lands will be blessed. So since they know that, they know that they can't be just going, straight at their neck. You can't be just trying to attack Israel. They got to take care of them. So these Spaniards were taking care of Israel. You see what I'm saying? They were taking care of them so that the whole land would be blessed. Okay? So because these were that no Jew should be constrained to receive baptism. There's certain so they weren't forcing the Jews into being baptized in their churches. It goes that should be inclined to embrace the Christian faith. He must be received in it with love and benevolence. That his feasts and religious ceremonies must be respected by Christians. That the whipping or stoning of Jews be forbidden and punished, that their burial places be held sacred. So these were the things that kept Spain being blessed. And when King Ferdinand III afterwards canonized, wrested Seville from the Moors in 1224, he made over one of the best districts of the city to the Jews. So when he took this from the Moors, he took this city from the Moors, and he gave the Israelites the best city, because he knows that if he bless Israel, the whole lands will be blessed. Okay, so again, and when King Ferdinand III afterwards canonized, wrested Seville from the Moors in 1224, he made over one of the best districts of the city to the Jews, and gave them the 4 mosques contained in it, that they might convert them into synagogues. Okay, so they understand that you got to take care of Israel if you want to be blessed. So you blessed Israel, you're blessed. This is the Gentiles doing this. Okay, but check this part out. This is the one thing they didn't want the Israelites to do. The only restraint placed upon them by the law was that they must refrain, under pain of death, from attempting to proselytize among Christians, and that they must show respect for the Christian religion. These were the Halakon days of Hebrew prosperity in Spain. Their distinguished abilities were recognized, and they won to many positions of importance in the government. They know about the Israelites. That's why, they put Joseph in charge, because they know that when you put the Israelites in charge and they're, good with their power, that everyone's going to be blessed. That's exactly what they did in Egypt. They were doing this in Spain too. You see what I'm saying? This was not just something that happened in Egypt and that was it. It also was happening in Spain. The Spaniards were blessing the Israelites, and they were getting blessed as well. So again, their distinguished abilities were recognized, and they won to many positions of importance in the government. The finances of the kingdom were in their control. They gave the finances to the Israelites. So they must know something, that the Israelites, it's just biblical principles. If you let them handle certain things, those things will be blessed. That happened with Jacob as well, correct? You see what I'm saying? See, exactly. This was about us. You can see right now, Ish is in control of everything right now. Ish controls the banks, do they not? They're in high positions in this society. Quick question for you. Is this society blessed right now? Is this society blessed by the Most High right now? You don't have to answer. Just figure it out, because this is showing you that when the real Israelites were put into positions of power, that these countries, they were blessed and they did well. You telling us that, just like the guy earlier said, that your DNA says that you're nobody, you're African American. Okay, that's cool. You can believe that. But see, my lying eyes aren't lying to me. We're not in control of anything. You guys control everything. So if the Most High was with you and you're in control of everything, that would mean that this whole world right now should be doing great. This whole world right now should be just, happy days are here again. I can see, my future is so bright, I need sunglasses, right? Because everything is just looking so great. Everyone's happy, everyone's good, everyone's being taken care of, because the real Israelites are in charge right now. But that's not what's happening. See, this is why now you can't listen to what people say. Just watch. Just look. Okay, well, us so-called African Americans, man, we're not in charge of anything. We got no power. You guys got the power of everything. So if you guys got a power and you guys have been blessed, why isn't the whole world being blessed? Why is everything in this whole world upside down? Because the real people are at the bottom still. That's why. This is why now, when you look at prophecy, I don't care about your breakdown of prophecy. I want to you show me where, this is written and who did it happen to? When you look at Deuteronomy 28, 16 through 68, who did that happen to? You guys should be going through your blessing right now, because you guys are all in charge. You guys control every single, area. You guys are in charge. But see, that's not true. That's not what's happening. So let's continue. The finances of the kingdom were in their control. Okay? And Castile prospered under their able administration of its commerce. Israelites were in control of commerce, and Castile prospered under their able administration of its commerce. You see that? Again, Alfonso VIII, in whose reign it is estimated there were 12,000 Jews in Toledo alone, employed a Jew as his treasurer. Why would you do that? Why would you be employing Jews as your treasurer? Why would you be putting them in these high positions? Why would you be letting them handle your money? Why would you let them handle your commerce? Because if you let them in there and they're with their power and the Most High is blessing them, you'll get blessed as well. This is biblical. You bless them, the Most High will bless you. You curse them like you did, you'll be cursed. You kick them out of your country, you make them leave, and everything goes downhill as soon as that happens. Let's continue. Jews in Toledo alone employed a Jew as his treasurer and did not disdain to take a Jewess for his mistress. An interesting little fact in view of the law that was as so soon to be promulgated on that subject. Hardly less than their value to the nation's commerce were their services to, okay, so this is other things we were into, okay? Science, art, and literature. They excelled particularly in medicine and chemistry, and the most skillful doctors and surgeons of the Middle Ages were men of their race, Israelites. Exactly, the spirit of Joseph brings blessings, exactly. See that? Now, this is what happens. I want you to see real quick as we finish up real quick. Later on, when they started to persecute the Israelites, or the Jews here, I want you to see what this sounds like, okay? This is how they cut their nose to spite their face. This is how they screwed themselves over, because they started to curse the Israelites, okay? It says, it was ordained by these that henceforth no Jew should occupy the position of a judge, even in a Hebrew court, nor should any Jew be permitted to bear witness. So we couldn't even, just what they did when they got over here too. You couldn't even, you couldn't make accusations, and you couldn't even go and be a witness. Couldn't even give testimony, okay? All synagogues were to be closed or converted into Christian temples. Did we not talk about that before? How they went, took over our places, took over our, healing centers, our places of worship, because there's ley lines there. So they went and converted those, vast majority of those, into their churches, and then trick us to go in there and pray for them so they can get your energies out of them. See what I'm saying? So again, converted into Christian temples, with the exception of one in every town in which Jews should be established. So you get one, and we'll tell you which one. I'm sure it's gonna be one that's not close to those ley lines. They were forbidden to continue the practice of the professions of medicine, surgery, and chemistry. So you screwed yourselves over, because you started to kick us out from those positions, in which they had specialized with such good results to the community. They were no longer to occupy the offices of tax collectors, and all commerce with Christians was forbidden them. So they didn't want us to, have commerce with them, anything. They must neither buy nor sell and trade with Christians, nor eat with them, nor use their baths, nor send their children to the same schools. Is that not what they did here? You go to your black schools. We'll go to our rich white schools. You go to this college. It's all for black people. We'll go here. You go to your, you go to your hospitals that have, don't have the same amount of funding, and we'll get these ones over here. Same things. Jim Crow to the max was already going on over here. Okay? It says, nor send their children to the same schools. The ghetto was ordered to be walled round, so as to be enclosed and cut off from the rest of the city. And they were forbidden to issue from it. They weren't even allowed to leave. Okay? Intercourse between a Jew and a Christian woman was forbidden under pain of death by burning. Same thing that they would do here, right? If they caught you having sex or sleeping with, a white woman in the past, they would string you up. That would happen to Emmett Till just by an accusation. Same thing. Same thing, right? Okay? Death by burning, even though the woman were a prostitute, even if the woman was a prostitute, still, you could be burned to death. They were forbidden to shave and compelled to allow their beards and hair to grow, in addition to which they were ordered to wear as a distinguishing mark a circle of red cloth upon the shoulder of their gabardine. See, they try to make it seem like these were the things that were happening to other people, but look, this was happening way before. This persecution was happening to the Israelites way before. They were further compelled to hear 3 sermons annually. We're forced to listen to their sermons. Okay, now listen. 3 sermons annually from a Christian preacher whose aim it was to pour abuse and contumely upon them, to inveigh against their accursed race and creed. Is that not what we got when we go to their churches? How we're cursed. We've got the curse of Ham. We're supposed to be slaves. Same thing, right? We're cursed race and creed, to assure them of the certainty of the damnation that awaited them, and to exalt before them the excellences of the Catholic religion. So pretty much just talking mess and destroying our way of life and exalting their own. That's just a little snippet of what's in that book right there. And again, if you want to take a look at it, here you go right here. This is just a story about the Grand Inquisitor, and we haven't even talked about him yet. You can see that my thing is not even moving anymore. The amount of people hasn't moved for like 20 minutes. It says 5:35, and then the chat hasn't even been moving. All we're doing is just reading some books, man. Taking a look at the history, taking a look at our history, and looking at how it connects to what's going on right now. And what's gone on in this. So they just took the same playbook that they had over there in Spain, and they just brought it over here. Because the same Jews that they were destroying over there were the same Israelites they were intended to destroy over here. They could not let us work together. They could not let us have high positions unless, you converted to Christianity and you followed their ways. Then all of a sudden, I'll talk about that later on. I'll let you know what happens when they convert to Christianity. Okay? And what opportunities are open to the ones that start to follow the Christian and Catholic dogma. But it already seems, like I said, it's just amazing how nothing is moving at all on this video. But that's okay. Like I said, it just shows you that your history and the things that you've done, you don't want it brought up. But this is your history. These are the things that you've done. And it's showing you that the Spaniards knew that if they blessed Israel, they would be blessed. And that's how it should be. If you want to be blessed, you should be blessing the Most High's people, just like it's been done in the past. Then they'll pray for you, and then they'll be there for you, and the Most High will work and pray and bless you as well. All praise, Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.